All-in-one productivity tools can go in one of two directions. They can reduce the number of places that you need to check and make your life considerably easier. Or they can try to do so many things that setting up and maintaining the app becomes another project, which is one of the reasons I love reviewing those, because I'm always looking for the right one. Today, routine.co. And we're going to try and figure out if this one's right for you. Hey, welcome to GBRLIFE Reviews, where I test the tools so you don't have to waste your time, your money, and all that fun stuff. Today, I'm breaking down Routine Co. with what I like, don't like, pricing, and the GBRLIFE rating. So let's get into this with first, what I like. You know what I like right away? It immediately shows the assistant. Now, if you don't like AI, you're going to hate this. For someone like myself, I love technology. So I absolutely like it when there are more of the latest and greatest things right in front of me. And I can be like, hey, what's up? Let's do this. And I like that. Normally I say it's simple and clean. It is simple and clean. And of course I like that. But I absolutely love that the first thing you're seeing here is the ability to just go in and quickly, hey, what's on my plate today? Block time for my tasks of the day. Book a meeting with my team. Cancel my afternoon meetings. That's really nice. What's really nice here too is that on this part right here, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it says link objects and integrations. And I think that, this could be something that gets a little fixed up later on. And we'll get into the things I don't like, but I am gonna kind of say this is not the greatest thing on the planet where it's hidden, it's grayed out. Maybe this was asked for and enough people were asking for it. Personally, I like to see exactly what it is instead of this grayed out thing, or maybe it's because I'm on the free plan and we'll get into pricing. But you can see for the integrations, you have Notion, Connect Instantly, LinkedIn, Featurebase, WhatsApp, Jira, Trello, GitLab, Linear, Pipedrive, ClickUp, I don't know this one, Apollo.io, Asana, and Outlook. But is that all that they offer for integrations? Well, here's the other thing I really like. If I go over to the settings, right here you see the preferences. So of course you can decide if it's a light system, a dark system, or just based off of whatever it is that your computer has, and you can decide if you want AM, PM, 24-hour, and that kind of thing. So that's really nice, including the wide layout. But when it comes to the integrations, you have your calendars, and you have Outlook, Apple, and Google, which are the main three. So I do love that. You can add in your contacts, you can add in tasks. And now you noticed Zapier was not one of the ones that were listed on the bottom over there, and neither was Todoist. So these are two options that you can bring in. Oh, and you know what? Gmail wasn't there as well, and neither was Microsoft To Do. So you can bring in these as well because these are specific to tasks, and that's what they're going to kind of bring in on these. They're looking through your Gmail to see if there's any tasks that they need to add onto your calendar or onto your task list. And that goes for also with Microsoft To Do, Todoist. And then here with Zapier, that's just your automation. This is basically saying when you see this, you can do this with workflows, which makes sense because they already have the assistant right there front and center. So they're basically saying we work with as much as we can to make your life easier. And then you have your calendar, which this version of the calendar is really just more showing you your tasks, what's coming up, what's planned, not planned, and then no events for today because I didn't add too much to it. And then you have your regular calendar. Some people like doing things this way. But the other thing is you have your inbox, which you can add these items right here into your calendar as well. You have your labels. You can do anything from work or home, anything that's a task. You also have, and this is something that I think is a little different here than other planning tools, it's a journal. So if you were to click into that journal, this is preloaded. They are giving you the idea that you can add in these types of things. You can go through this way as well. So it has like a table of contents, and you can add in how you're feeling and do this every single day. That's pretty cool when you're thinking about a planning tool, because sometimes people really like to plan, but they also want to track things like this. This is giving you the opportunity to do that. That's not the only thing they have though, because they also have right over here on your pages, you can also add in anything else you might be looking for, again, because it's like a planner. So if you're thinking about it like, oh no, I really just want to write something very quick, like the mind dump kind of thing, you can do that. You actually have them also showing you how to do this, but then you also have tutorials on how to create and use your pages, which I think, again, is really nice. And you can label these pages. You can add a new page right here. Within that page, it gives you options, goals, groceries, packing lists, travel destinations, watch lists. It's basically saying whatever it is that you want to do, you can do that right here and add in as many pages as you might need. So this is really nice because the one thing that I have absolutely found that is wonderful and horrible about written planners is that it's written, right? So you can't just automatically add that to your calendar when you're like, man, now I need to go over to my digital calendar and write all of this there because I'm going to need something to actually remind me of this, that it's coming up in the next week or two or in a few months, which is great for paper planners like myself. I absolutely need a paper planner. What I like about this is that I could potentially print out that sheet and then literally just cut and paste it onto my planner. That's a little hack that I have and could work for some of you, but I do love things like this, and also being able to keep everything in one place, because it's something like these pages that really give people the feel that you can go to this one location and get it all done. But there's more, because it also comes with your actual tasks. The other thing they have is your projects. This is also something else that's a little bit different from something else out there, like I will say something like Asana. Asana is more of a project planner than it is a planner. This is more a planner that has project planning and journaling within it. And if I were to go into that, I can just immediately go into the actual content planning. And here's where you can move your cards. Now, if I go back over to projects, I can go over to just the project in general. And it does give you that same feel as the journal. Starts off this way, you start to kind of write what you're looking for. We can just say project test. And over here, this automatically started to try and pull up some of the GBRLIFE planning that is coming up. Now, I can choose to add those things, or I can also add in GBRLIFE.com instead. So it's really up to whatever I want to do. I'll just put that on a second line, create. And now I have my content planning or my project test. Now up here, it's showing this because this is what I was basically saying is my description or what this project is about. It could be an entire paragraph. It could be whatever you want it to be. And then you start adding in your tasks. And the other really cool thing is you can actually add subtasks to those tasks. So up here, you see the task, and if you want to click to add, but if you go over here on that task, you actually see the option for a subtask, including adding in photos. So if you're more photocentric, that is an option to be able to just go ahead and add in photos and videos and different things, which you're seeing if I go back over to the journal and select the guide, because remember, that is a video. And that's one of the reasons they added this in here, is that it's a video that you can add. It is the drop-down lists that you can add. This is drop-down. It is your extra, here's your task and then your subtasks within it. You can select through. They're trying to show you everything this can do by giving you examples. And then the very last thing is agents. You're going to find that in the settings section. And of course, there's a few other things that you can look into, including automations, but this is not something that you're going to see with literally everybody. And I found that this is a very, well, it could be something you love or you don't, which is a great segue into what I don't like. I do like agents in the sense that it's an option. I don't love that it doesn't explain well enough exactly what you can do with those agents. So for example, the social media specialist, Bob, that's so great. They have a social media specialist agent that's going to help you. But what do I need to do to set all of this up in here to make Bob work with my data and actually be a good social media agent for me? I don't love that you can't really determine exactly how to use this without at some point going into some sort of a tutorial. It looks very easy, and it is easy. But then in a lot of ways, it's not. It's not because you have to figure out how do I use those agents? Well, now I need to go find a video to figure out how to do that. And then if I go over to that assistant, I didn't really show that very well, but I said, hey, can you add this to my calendar? And it was like, yeah, I'm going to give it as a 2-hour time block. But what was I adding? I was adding in to record, edit, and post my review video. And it thinks it's only going to take me 2 hours. That's not the end of the world, but I do think that it could be a little bit more intuitive. If I were to have a conversation with ChatGPT or Claude, it's going to know that something like that is not going to take me 2 hours. It's likely going to tell me that it's going to take me a day or 5 hours to do something like that because it knows I need to take the time to record, take the time to edit that, take the time to create the show notes, take the time to create the thumbnails. It's going to take time. And 2 hours, that's a really short amount of time, which means it's not going to be intuitive enough to really plan out my day for me in a way that I'm not going to overlap and then be completely bombarded if I'm focusing and just using this as it is. Which brings me into, how much does all of this cost? Here we have the pricing. In your pricing, you have free, which is free forever. You have personal, professional, business, and enterprise. These are based off of yearly, which means $5, $10, and $15 times 12 gives you your actual yearly cost. But if you're not interested in doing a upfront payment, you can go into monthly. Monthly is $8, $12, or $18 a month. But here's the good thing about the pricing. And I didn't say this in the what I like side, but I do love that everything I showed you is free. There are limitations, of course, but the majority of the things that you're going to want to use this for immediately is free. When you start getting into your time blocking, your time boxing, exporting, maybe even it being a little more intuitive, that's where you start to pay for things. But you do get an opportunity to actually decide if this is something you like by using the free section. And I can't say that I don't like it, which is why when we're going into the big question, is it worth it? I'm going to say yes. For anyone who's looking for a simple way to organize and project plan. But no, for anyone who's more interested in project planning than they are scheduling. And also no to someone who's looking for more of a planner than a to-do list / journal. Because I don't think that that was a planner enough. It was there, it was possible, but it was almost an afterthought in the way that it would be a planner. It was more of a scheduling to-do list journaling tool. And that's the reason why, for the GBRLIFE rating, I'm going to give routine.co a 3.5 out of 5. Because it is very cool to see the project space, journaling, and true planning all put together in one spot. But it is going to lose 1.5 points because it's going to take setup and watching a few tutorials to make it potentially work exactly how you want it to work. And it's not entirely intuitive, which I feel like if you're adding in all that automation and AI, it should have been already. But if you don't like the AI portion, just go ahead and remove another 0.5 point and you'll get down to 3 points. Or if you absolutely love it, go up to 4. Because it could really work for certain people. It really depends on how you plan on using it. And you get to use the free version to determine that. And now I want to know what you think. Have you used Routine before? Or are you using another assistant that's changed your entire daily routine? Well, drop that in the comments below. But that is it for this week's review. And if you want more, you can check out the companion blog on GBRLIFE.com. Next week, we're back to AI. So you'll want to tune in. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, with everything on GBRLIFE.com and my fabulous Mama Koala clothing line, you don't have to be without GBRLIFE in your life. Now let's head into the next review. It should show up right here. No, really, right here. I think this is one you'll actually really like. YouTube says you'll like it. Let's go into this one next.